participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station management and advertisers.
All right, what's going on, everybody? A very happy Friday, PTL Nation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Another jam-packed show lined up for you today. Obviously, we're monitoring the Donald Trump-Vladimir Putin meeting. We have some breaking news for you in regards to that meeting that we will be sharing with you here momentarily. Of course, we're on the YouTube Super Chat where your questions and comments can be heard. Of course, the website, pushingthelimits.live. My YouTube page is at PTL Radio Show, of course. Part of the Really American Network. We appreciate them being a part of what we do. And we have a lot lined up for you today. As I mentioned, the breaking news, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin meeting momentarily here within the hour. We'll be joined at the bottom of the hour by one of the most popular left-leaning streamers on the planet. Destiny will be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We'll get his thoughts on this. But, you know, I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, to start the show off, I am disgusted. I am disgusted that we are rolling out the red carpet. When I say we, I mean the Trump administration. They literally have rolled out a red carpet for this evil, murderous dictator. Yes, that's exactly who Vladimir Putin is, and they're rolling out the red carpet on American soil. I'm disgusted by it. And I can tell you exactly what's going to happen here. It's not difficult to predict, but the breaking news is that Putin and Trump were supposed to meet together alone with just two interpreters. Apparently, the Russian side called that off, and now it's going to be a few people in Donald Trump's administration, including Marco Rubio, with members of Putin's administration. I do find that interesting that they're not meeting alone. You can take that for what it's worth, but I can tell you and predict what is going to happen here. Obviously, Trump wants to end the war, right? He said the war was going to be over in 24 hours. He's embarrassed himself. It's now 7 months, and he's no closer to ending the war now than he was on day one. So he looks like the fool that he is, and he wants this war to be over with. Now, I think everybody would want the war to be over with, right? At least even on Russia's side with the troops and thousands of troops that have died, and of course everybody in Ukraine and America and all over the world. We don't want to see this war. And perhaps the only people that want to continue it are people like Vladimir Putin and maybe some others in his administration in the Kremlin. But I can tell you what I think is going to happen in this meeting, and it's very predictable to me. Vladimir Putin is not going to raise the white flag and give up. He's going to have his strong demands. We all know that he wants to take over Ukraine as a whole. That's not going to happen. And then Donald Trump will try to negotiate with him with how much land he wants to take over in Ukraine to make some sort of deal with Zelensky. Trump will cave. It'll be Taco Trump once again on a Friday. They'll have a conversation with Zelensky. Zelensky, rightfully so, will not agree to the terms because you shouldn't reward an evil, murderous dictator for invading a country. And then Trump and the White House will make Zelensky to be the bad guy. It's exactly what's going to happen here. I don't think it's hard to predict. I think this meeting is going to be a waste of time. There is no chance that Putin is going to give in to Donald Trump's demands. He hasn't done it to this point. There's no reason why he would. But yet, we're rolling out the red carpet for an evil, murderous dictator on American soil. You all should be upset at that and embarrassed by that. I'm disgusted by it. That's what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's sick. So Donald Trump did make some comments to the media earlier today. And a reporter asked him about the continued violence in Ukraine that occurred just last night. Listen to the pathetic answer that Donald Trump gave to the media earlier today.
We saw that Russia continued its violence into Ukraine last night, launching even more drones. What did you make of that?
I think they're trying to negotiate. He's trying to set a stage. I mean, in his mind, that helps him make a better deal. It actually hurts him. But in his mind, that helps him make a better deal if they can continue the killing. Maybe it's a part of the world. Maybe it's just his fabric, his genes, his genetics. But he thinks that makes him, gives him strength in negotiating. I think it hurts him, but I'll be talking to him about it later.
Is this on the table?
What? What did I just hear? A reporter just said to him, this guy's meeting with you today, and we know that there was violence in Ukraine last night. What is your response to that? And Donald Trump's only response to it is, well, I think that might be in his DNA. People are saying. I mean, what an imbecile. No, if you're the leader of this country and you want peace, you say it's inexcusable. We can't have this anymore. It's wrong. He's murdering innocent people. And the fact that he did this last night shows that he's not serious, that he wants peace. That's what a real leader, a real president would say. Donald Trump, it's in his DNA. I don't know. He thinks it's helping him. I think it's hurting him. What an imbecile. And this is the guy that said, I'll end the war in 24 hours. What a joke. And here we go again. Taco Trump wearing the Vladimir Putin knee pads. He's asked about Putin, and what does he do? While Putin is literally, by the minute, killing innocent people in Ukraine, Donald Trump starts praising him. Listen to this.
A little bit, Mr. President, because I know you've had a lot of phone calls with President Putin. What's the difference in a face-to-face, in-person meeting?
Look, he's a smart guy. Been doing it for a long time, but so have I. Been doing it for a long time. And here we are, we're president. That was much more difficult than what I'm doing today, believe me. So we get along. There's a good respect level on both sides. And I think, something's going to come of it. I noticed he's bringing a lot of business people from Russia. And that's good. I like that because they want to do business, but they're not doing business until we get the war settled.
Are you going to talk about business?
What? Come again? So you have an evil, murderous dictator that invaded our allies. Thousands of innocent people have died, including women and children. And what does Donald Trump say this morning? He's a smart guy. He's been doing this for a long time. But so have I, whatever the hell that means. And he continues to coddle the evil, murderous dictator Vladimir Putin. Who cares whether he brought 1,000 businessmen with him? Doesn't matter. He started this war. He needs to end it. And Russia needs to be sanctioned. But I guarantee you that won't happen because Taco Trump on a Friday will be praising Vladimir Putin and be on his knees again. You can just hear it in his voice from earlier today. But yet MAGA Republicans will lead you to believe that there's nobody that's tougher on Russia than Donald Trump. What a joke. Because we're supposed to think that the guy who praises Putin, who sent him COVID test kits in the middle of COVID, the guy who has given him extension after extension after extension, somehow now is going to be tough? And then hours before he meets Putin, he calls him smart, he praises him. It sickens me. So what does Trump think what's going to actually happen in this meeting? Well, here's his prediction.
Okay, in the office with President Trump on Air Force One, heading in, what's your initial feeling? How are you feeling about what you're going to get out of this?
I think we're going to do very well. Our country is doing very well. We're setting records economically like we never have before, including the stock markets are all at a record high. We're taking in trillions and trillions of dollars with tariffs. We're going for a meeting with President Putin in Alaska, and I think it's going to work out very well. And if it doesn't, I'm going to head back home real fast.
I mean, if it doesn't, you walk.
I would walk there.
Yeah, crawl. But what is Donald Trump's definition of working out well? What does that mean? So if Putin says he wants half of Ukraine, is that working out well? Should we reward an evil dictator from invading our allies? That's exactly what's going to happen here. What is Donald Trump's version of ending well? Putin has shown no remorse and no signals to the fact that he is going to end this war anytime soon. He wants to gain control of Ukraine, period. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but I do believe Donald Trump is going to pressure Zelensky to give Putin what he wants. I see no reason to the contrary. And I believe that's how that meeting is going to go down. And as we look right now, both presidents have landed and have left the jets, for lack of a better term, and are walking on the red carpet. We have learned that Trump and Putin will not be meeting alone, which scheduled they were supposed to. They'll be meeting with other people On the president's side, we know that at least Marco Rubio will be in the room as well as members of Putin's administration. Take that for what it's worth. I don't know. But they were supposed to be meeting together, and now that is not the case. As we go to the YouTube Super Chat, Tim says, Genie, for my first wish, I wish Trump had taste buds where the sun don't shine. For my second wish, White House spicy chili cook-off. I like that one, Tim. I appreciate that. It's interesting right now as we're watching Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin shake hands on a red carpet on American soil. It absolutely sickens me beyond belief. I've given you my predictions on what I think is going to happen in this meeting. We will talk about it later on in the show, and we will have to wait and see what happens. But I believe it's going to be Zelensky's the bad guy. He won't agree to Vladimir Putin's demands, and the war will continue. That's the way I see this whole meeting happening and what I think is going to happen here. Now, on the other side of things, I will say this on a positive note. I like what I've seen from Gavin Newsom recently. I criticized Gavin Newsom a lot for the podcasts he did with Charlie Kirk and others, where I felt like he coddled these right-wingers. Steve Bannon was another one, and I didn't like what I saw there. But what I can tell you is that we're seeing a different side to Gavin Newsom now, where it appears as though Newsom is ready to fight back, and he is. And I like that. We've seen members of his administration on social media mocking Donald Trump, going after Trump with his same words. I do like that. I think this should have happened a long time ago. But this was Gavin Newsom and what he had to say yesterday, saying that we meaning the other side, shouldn't have to play by the rules while Donald Trump tries to rig the midterms. Have a listen to what Newsom had to say about that.
So we're here with our state of mind, with the clarity of our purpose and conviction, to recognize that we need to reconcile the world we're living in. We do have agency. We're not bystanders in this world. We can shape the future, and that's what we intend to do today. We're here because Donald Trump, on January 6th, tried to light democracy on fire, tried to wreck this country, tried to steal an election, as Alex just said, by trying to dial in for 11, almost 12,000 votes. And here we are, in open and plain sight, before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt. And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to a higher level of accountability. So that's what this is about. It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats. We're doing it in reaction to that act.
Listen, I like what I'm hearing from Gavin Newsom. Quite frankly, I wish more Democrats would be speaking that same language with that passion. I agree. And he went on. And this is what I like about Gavin Newsom 2.0. He went on, and it seems like finally we have a Democrat that's forcibly telling the truth that many of us have been broadcasting for months.
We know what Donald Trump knows. He's going to lose the midterms. He knows de facto his presidency ends in 17 months when Speaker Jeffries is back in office. He knows it. Why else? Why else would you try to rig the system? Why else would you make the phone call? He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this? Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength. The most unpopular president in modern history. An economy that's collapsing all around him. You saw the new wholesale prices going up almost a full percentage point today. Inflation is going up. Job creation is going down. He's trying to rewrite history, Smithsonian, censoring historical facts. And in the spirit of what Adam Schiff said, he's trying to put America in reverse on voting rights, civil rights, LGBTQ rights, on women's rights. He wants to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. That's what this is all about. It's about power.
That is what it's all about. And I agree with everything that Gavin Newsom just said there. And here's the point in the speech yesterday in this press conference where he starts talking about California. And he's saying we may not get California back if we allow Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans to do what they're doing and trying to rig the midterms. And I think Gavin Newsom is correct. Have a listen to this.
And we'll present this to the voters on a special election that happens to coincide with other municipal elections on November 4th. It is a sprint. And if California, one of the most un-Trump states in America, is not successful, at our peril, we may not get this back. I'm telling you, we may not. He is rigging this next midterm election before one vote is cast. He tried to wreck our democracy after the last vote was cast the last time. Now he's doing it in plain sight. And we have to have our sights focused, laser focused on winning, fighting fire with fire, no longer on our back heels, on our toes. We drive the narrative. We drive the reforms. We drive the talking points, surround sound, not just California, all of us, we the people, states, large and small, all across this country. It is time for action, no longer words.
Listen, I like what I'm hearing from Gavin Newsom. I like the fight. That sounds like a guy that wants to be president. And I don't believe these are empty words. He's showing it with action. I was very disappointed in Gavin Newsom when he did these podcasts with Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon. He almost it seemed like he was normalizing them, and I didn't like that. And I was very disappointed when I saw that. But I will tell you, this new Gavin Newsom, I like. Jong on the YouTube Super Chat says, absolutely despicable as I live in Anchorage for dictator Putin landing on American soil and the 34-count felon caving to his daddy. I am with Ukraine. Well, as am I, my friend, and I appreciate your comment. As am I. You know, it is interesting because we hear a lot of people on the right call people on the left the word snowflake. You hear that a lot, right? Well, who are the real snowflakes here? Because I want you to listen to Arroyo on Fox News yesterday, and Arroyo's a complete moron. Listen to him on Fox News yesterday, responding to Gavin Newsom saying that Greg Abbott rolled over for Trump, which, by the way, has nothing to do with him being in a wheelchair. But these people on Fox News seem to be upset about this statement, but they're not upset about Donald Trump saying he doesn't respect John McCain because he was captured, or attacking women on looks, or calling Mexicans rapists, or bragging about sexual assault, all the despicable things that Donald Trump has said over the years. Fox News won't touch that. But they're angry because Gavin Newsom said that Greg Abbott is rolling over for Trump. Again, nothing to do with the fact that he's in a wheelchair, but listen to this snowflake Arroyo complaining about this.
Congressman Greg Abbott, who is in a wheelchair, and Newsom says he rolled over for Trump. That's almost as bad as Jasmine Crockett calling him Governor Hot Wheels. You know, we asked for a statement, and Newsom's office said something flippant like, you know, oh, you're so woke, he'll get over it. Abbott will get over it. Your response to that?
Yeah, well, here's my response. You idiots on Fox News. I have no problem with that statement at all. Donald Trump, every single day, attacks our brave men and women in uniform, attacks Gold Star families, attacks POWs, attacks the trans community, the gay community, attacks minorities. And you guys sit quiet and you say nothing. When he bragged about sexual assault, his excuse was locker room talk. And that was the excuse that Fox News used. But somehow, if Gavin Newsom says Abbott is rolling over for Trump, which is, by the way, he is, and that has nothing to do with the fact that he's in a wheelchair, somehow Fox News get all their pantyhose in a bind, and all of a sudden they're the woke ones. Well, let me be very clear on this. Gavin Newsom said nothing wrong. Yeah, I criticized Jasmine Crockett for her Hot Wheels comment. That doesn't rise to the level of every day the things that Donald Trump says. Let me be very clear on that. These are the real snowflakes out there. Any Democrat that pushes back in any way, shape, or form and gives back their medicine just a tiny bit, they lose it. They go crazy. Alexa Gibson on the YouTube Super Chat says, I just need them to tell me step by step what to do and how to do it to stop Trump and his administration. Well, it starts at the ballot box for the midterms and then the 2028 presidential elections, my dear. That's what we all have to do. That's what we all have to do. We all have a job to do. But going back to this meeting that is taking place, is there anybody out there that believes that somehow this is going to be a victory for America and Donald Trump is going to be able to negotiate Putin into leaving Ukraine? Is there anybody out there that thinks that this man who's, looks like kind of like a first date hug handshake, I don't know what that is, the pat on the shoulder, it's strange. Is there anybody out there that thinks that orange orangutan felon is the guy that is going to be able to negotiate with Vladimir Putin? No, he's going to cave. He is going to cave to Vladimir Putin like he has caved to Vladimir Putin for years. At least we had a president in Joe Biden who called Putin what he is, a dictator. Donald Trump, all he does is praise Putin. He did it again this morning. He called Putin a very smart guy who's been doing this for a long time. Now, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't think there's anything smart about invading our allies and killing innocent women and children while thousands of your own soldiers are losing their lives. Every day, soldiers on both sides are dying. Donald Trump thinks that's a smart guy? No, that's evil. That's why we call Vladimir Putin a murderous dictator. It's evil. But if you listen to Donald Trump, imagine what he's saying in that room with Vladimir Putin now. Think about the words that he used in the press today. He praised Vladimir Putin. He called him smart, somebody that's been doing this for a long time. Imagine what he's saying to Vladimir Putin's face right now. This is the President of the United States who is coddling, and has for years, to evil, murderous dictators like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. This is a guy who seems to be okay with genocide going on in Gaza. That's what I consider is going on in Gaza right now. Listening to every word that Benjamin Netanyahu says, and their intelligence over our own. Viktor Orban. Donald Trump has said nothing negative about this man, only positives, because Donald Trump looks up to evil, murderous dictators. Yes, I do believe there are parts of Adolf Hitler that Donald Trump looks up to and admires, because Donald Trump wants to be an evil, murderous dictator himself, and he sees Vladimir Putin as this tough guy. Think about that. Think about that for a moment. As Lori on a YouTube super chat says, since Trump called that he was going to Russia, Alaska, maybe that's why Rubio is going, because of his mental health issues. Well, that could be possible. I mean, I think Donald Trump needs all the help that he can get, and I certainly don't disagree with you, Lori, at all. It's sick. It's disgusting. And this is where we are at as a country right now, rolling out the red carpet for evil, murderous dictators. It really is sick, ladies and gentlemen, when I see these images of Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin shaking hands, caressing each other as the red carpet is rolled out on American soil. It'd be one thing if it wasn't on American soil. On American soil, Vladimir Putin is getting the red carpet rolled out for him. It's sick. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, the ever so popular left-leaning streamer, Destiny, also known as Steven, he's going to be joining us next on Pushing the Limits. And I'm going to ask him about what he expects from this meeting, the situation with Putin and Trump speaking in Alaska. What does he see, if anything, can come out of this? And, of course, on the other side of the break, we will also take your phone calls. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back here in a few minutes with Destiny. Always fun to catch up with him. We'll take a quick break. Back after this, you're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday, a very busy news day. We just saw images of Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin shaking hands, rolling out the red carpet for an evil dictator on American soil. And that's something that I enjoy seeing, that's for sure. There you go. There's the picture. Apparently, they were in the same limo together, too, playing footsie with each other. I don't know. But anyway, to talk to us about this and many other topics, he is the ever so popular left-leaning streamer, and it's always a pleasure when he joins us. The one and only Destiny joining us right now on the program. Destiny, it is good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. How are you?
Doing okay. It's another day in the Republic. How are you doing?
Doing okay, Destiny. I mean, I'm just curious. I want to start out by asking you this, and thank you so much for being here again. How does it make you feel to know that, you know, the red carpet, for lack of a better term, literally has been rolled out for an evil, murderous dictator on American soil?
I mean, I would say every single thing that Trump has done regarding his association with Putin has been pretty shameful for our country. But I mean, this is a guy who was saluting North Korean troops multiple times when he went to visit Kim in North Korea. So it's not really surprising at this point.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. I mean, here's the way I see it, and I want to get your thoughts on this. I think that Putin's going to want half of Ukraine. You know, I think Taco Trump will bow down to Putin once again. And then they'll make Zelensky look like the bad guy when they say, well, here's what Putin wants. If you agree to this, then the war is over. Zelensky will say no, rightfully so. And then the White House will make Zelensky out to be the bad guy.
Yeah, basically, I've seen this same prediction given. I mean, that seems to be the pattern at this point. The problem is that, like, this is an actually complicated issue, and, well, I mean, it shouldn't be a complicated issue, but it's involving, like, great powers, and there's a lot of different stuff to consider here, like American interests, European interests, Russian interests, and just like the larger political scene of what is America's engagement going to be like with the world. And these are all questions that need to be answered by people with a comprehensive view of the world and how America should fit into it. And Donald Trump is not that guy. He doesn't have any comprehensive vision. He's very emotionally reactive to everything that happens. So I'm sure he'll have this meeting now. I'm sure he'll feel good coming out of it. He'll say they had great words. They were the best words. And then Putin will go back to bombing Ukrainian schools and hospitals. And then Trump will truth out something saying he's upset. And then we're just back at square one. Yeah,
I tend to agree with you. You know, Destiny, even earlier today, I'm sure you saw Donald Trump calling Vladimir Putin a smart guy. He's been doing this for a long time. Imagine the nice things he's saying to Vladimir Putin to his face if he's willing to say things like that in front of the media.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Trump works, right? He flatters you if you're nice to him. He's mean to you if you're not a total suck up. I mean, you can see Donald Trump. I think you can see how transparent he is with the way that he interacts with the media. If somebody says something about Donald Trump, or they ask him a question, and it's like like, hey, why did you do this bad thing? You know, he's like, what media station are you from? Where are you from? Why are you guys here? And then he kicks him out of the newsroom, you know, whereas other people are asking questions like Donald Trump, like, you know, how is it possible that your hair is so perfect today and your body is so perfectly sculpted? He's like, oh, I like you, you know, thanks for the question. And yeah. I imagine it's the same with world leaders. And sometimes there's times where you can see Donald Trump will bring up like talking points. And I'm pretty sure he gets these talking points from the leaders that he talks to. Like, his position on Israel is very clearly informed by everything that Netanyahu tells him. And, you know, he comes back from some of these Russian talks a few months ago saying, like, aren't the borders around Canada and the United States kind of arbitrary? Like, I guarantee you that talking point came from Putin himself.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned the White House and the press room. I wanted to ask you about that because you have people like Benny Johnson and Tim Pool that are getting media credentials and being able to ask the first question. Benny Johnson asked the first question the other day. What do you make of that? I mean, obviously, under Trump, you'll never see people like you or me that are getting a credential, that are in that seat. All these right-wing buffoons, for lack of a better term, that coddle Caroline Leavitt. I mean, what do you make of that and what the White House press room has turned into under the Trump administration?
Yeah, I mean, Benny Johnson's question was very funny. Apparently, his front dash cam was set to like a Call of Duty Modern Warfare game or something, because this guy is seeing apparently every single crime happening on U.S. soil, literally right outside his house. I mean, it's stupid. I'm trying not to give in too much to the fatigue, but like everything about this administration has just been over the top ridiculous. You know, the mobilization of the National Guard to California was ridiculous. And now we're seeing apparently the National Guard is going to help enforce crime in D.C. I don't even know what that means, or nobody knows what that looks like. Now, thank God, I'll give them credit. At least we have the saying for so long was like, you can indict a ham sandwich, I guess. And now we're going to try to indict a guy for throwing a ham sandwich, because we have that now fired DOJ worker who threw it was a foot long, okay, not a 6-inch, but a foot long sandwich at a federal officer. And we've got the Fox News host Janine Pirro saying they're going to do felony charges on this guy. But hey, you know what? I'm all for it. It's the federal government. Maybe the Democrat that comes in next can pardon the guy. We pardon, 1,600 J6ers. We could pardon one dude who threw a foot long at a federal cop.
Yeah, that is true. Do you find it interesting that they talk about law and order, yet, they work for a 34 count felon? But even worse, I wanted to ask you about DC, because I'm very concerned about this. I'm sure you are as well. DC crime, as you know, Destiny, has been dropping the last couple of years. I think it's down like 30%. And Caroline Leavitt even admitted that on Fox News the other day. And you had Kash Patel in the press conference gloating about the numbers. Okay, that's a good thing. We should all celebrate that. So what's the excuse for bringing in the National Guard then? If you have crime that is on the decline, why are they bringing in the National Guard? The only thing I can think of, maybe two reasons, and you could tell me whether you agree or not. So we stopped talking about the Epstein files, and maybe they want martial law. I mean, I don't know what this administration is thinking for doing this. They did the same thing in LA. What is your take on this whole thing?
The problem with trying to guess anything the administration is doing is you always want to put like this insidious twinge on what's going on. But the problem is they just don't have the foresight or the forethought to do anything like long term. Like there's an argument to be made that they're trying to normalize this now so that come midterm time, they can start deploying the National Guard around ballot boxes or whatever, or intimidate people from going to actually show up and vote in the midterms. But I don't know if Trump has the foresight to do anything, that's more than 2 weeks into the future. I think that's the timeline he always gives, is like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Yeah. So honestly, God, I have no idea. I can't even from like a negatively loaded perspective, I can't think of I don't know what the point is, other than to distract from the Epstein files, or maybe because he's bored and he had nothing else going on that day. And this is the decision they made. I don't know if they're going to try to fight for past the 30-day extension. I don't know if they'd get the votes in Congress for it. Probably not. I have no idea. It just seems stupid to me.
Destiny, can you see a time in this country a year from now where the National Guard would be deployed to Baltimore, Chicago, and some of these other cities may be run by black mayors? I do find that to be I don't think that's a coincidence either. But do you see a time in this Trump administration, the next 3.5 years, where the National Guard could be deployed to maybe 5 or 6 different cities at the same time?
I mean, it's possible. I hope that we continue to put forth like a strong Democratic resistance. I feel like Newsom is doing a phenomenal job. He is meeting and exceeding my expectations every single day for what I expect Democratic resistance to look like. Texas state legislature, killed their special session. It was called off, and because they couldn't do the vote on quorum because of the Texas legislators that left the state. So congratulations for them. They're back now. One thing that Democrats need to understand is like the fighting is important, because we have to make the conservatives talk about the things that we want to fight about. And even if it seems pointless sometimes, even if it's Cory Booker giving a 50-hour speech on the floor, or if it's Texas legislators trying to disrupt the quorum, or whether it's Gavin Newsom tweeting crazy stuff, it's another day where they have to focus on those issues where they're not really as strong as they seem. And we don't have to talk about trans athletes, or we don't have to talk about whatever other stupid distraction that Trump wants to put in front of us for the media that day. So causing these confrontations, I think, is good, and hopefully will serve us well going into the midterms.
I do want to ask you about Gavin Newsom, but you just remind me about the Sydney Sweeney situation, which I'm sure you would agree is a fabricated thing that the far right just made up. Because I ask these people that call into this show even every day, can you name me one prominent Democrat that is called Sweeney a racist? Or no, nobody really cares about it. And it seems like this is what these far right MAGA Republicans do. They come up with these weird things that they talk about rather than talking about the real issues that the American people care about.
Yeah, I've brought this up a lot when I go on peers. Like when I get upset at MAGA, like I'm pointing to Donald Trump, and I'm pointing to Gomer, and I'm pointing to Jim Jordan. I'm pointing, like, these are their lawmakers. These are their big people. These are the evil people, Mike Johnson. These are the people that are representing the party. They are popular. They're in Congress. They occupy the White House. They're part of the executive branch, people like Bondi, people like Kash Patel. And then the counter is always like, okay, yeah, but what about this, 4-follower account on Twitter that tweeted this stupid thing? And then that's the whole conversation, There are so many issues where I look at a thing and I'm like, man, this person on the left seems like kind of dumb or unhinged. And it's like, but why am I even seeing this? I'm seeing it on a Republican channel, right? I don't know anybody who cared about the Sweeney stuff. Right. Other than the conservatives saying that we all cared about it, but they've been really successful at controlling so much of the media narrative so far, doing that, just pointing to things and making everybody feel like that's a huge problem and then getting everybody to talk about it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Gavin Newsom, because I was frustrated with Newsom when he did those podcasts with Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon. I thought they were kind of puffy kind of interviews, and I thought he kind of normalized them a little bit to an extent. I was frustrated with him. I like the Gavin Newsom that I've seen, especially recently, more aggressive, calling out Trump for who he is. If they're going to play that game, we're going to play that game too. I like this Gavin Newsom. What do you make of, where Gavin was at maybe 5 or 6 months ago and where he's at right now?
I feel like if you do media and you try to engage with the other side, I think that we all go through this journey. I've done this journey probably 5 times, and I'm sure I'll do it again. I'm starting to do it again right now, where you're thinking like, okay, well, I'm going to try to engage with the other side in a somewhat civil manner because I want to bridge divides. I don't want to try to engage critically with the things they're saying to persuade people or to learn things. And then in a few months, you realize, oh, wait, these people aren't serious. These people are just having fun. And as soon as they leave my platform, they're going to say insane and unhinged things about me. I just watched Charlie Kirk do it today, I think on Will Kane's show, I think on Fox News, where he was basically shitting on Gavin Newsom and attacking him for things that he said in their podcast. When Gavin, as you said, was incredibly polite to Charlie Kirk. So I think I'm glad that he did the shows. It's nice to see some things. I think that Charlie Kirk is pretty smart when it comes to figuring out how to do political stuff. So I appreciated seeing his mind kind of laid out there. I think that we need to be careful with the whole, we're going to normalize this thing. This is rhetoric that I'm trying to move away from a lot, because I think that people are taking for granted how much has already been normalized. Like we're deploying the National Guard again for crime purposes and nobody cares, right? Like we're in a really dire state right now in this country on like 5 different fronts, and somehow still, I'm not saying you're doing this, but like people say like, oh, like this might get really bad, like with the gerrymandering thing, like, well, if we start gerrymandering, things might get out of control. Like, I'm sorry, the Congress just told Texas to eliminate 5 Democratic districts. We're already out of control.
Yeah. Well, we've been out of control for a while there. I certainly don't disagree with you. I wanted to ask you about Jubilee, because you were one of those people that did the Jubilee show. And I wanted to get your thoughts maybe on the Mehdi Hasan Jubilee that made a lot of news a few weeks ago. I've had a few people from that Jubilee debate, if that's what you want to call it. And I got to be honest with you, like when I watched that, I couldn't believe the hatred and the white supremacy and the right-wing propaganda and how some of these younger people are brainwashed. And, you're part of the Un-F America tour, as I am. I'm proud to be on that organization. But like, I just see all these younger people that are just angry white people that are ill-informed and ignorant, and let's just call it for what it is, racist. When you saw that Jubilee episode with Mehdi Hasan, what went through your mind?
I mean, the big issue is how many times I don't know if you're involved in these conversations. I'm involved in so many of these conversations where the left has to control itself, and we need to ask ourselves critical questions like, were we being too mean when we called all the Republicans Nazis, and were we too harsh on ABC figure? Like, did we all have Trump derangement syndrome when we were calling Trump names? Did we cross the line? Conservatives never, ever have this talk amongst themselves, right? Like, is it a good idea to support Andrew Tate, the guy being, charged with sex trafficking and all those other crazy things? Is it maybe Roy Moore? Maybe that's not the call, for our senator endorsement or whatever. Maybe we shouldn't be making excuses for Trump's 34 felonies and the Stormy Daniels stuff. But they never, ever, ever have these conversations. So, I mean, it shouldn't be surprising to anyone that a party that shows absolutely no restraint, the only time conservatives care about the rules is when they can use it to constrain the actions of their political rivals. That's the only time they care about the rules. So, yeah, it shouldn't be surprising that a lot of the young people that are part of the conservative movement are absolutely unhinged. And the unhinged people on the left hate the Democratic Party. So it's not like the Democratic Party is breeding them, because if you go talk to socialists and tankies, all these guys on the college campuses, they're the first ones to say both parties are the same. We hate the Democrats as well.
Yeah, I totally I don't think both parties are the same. I know you don't either. But why do you think that is? Do you think it's just the Trump effect of the last 8 or 9 years, why you have so many young, mostly white males that have this white anger? Do you think they were always there, but they just didn't feel as comfortable to speak the bigotry that they speak now because of Donald Trump? Or do you feel like this is something new within these far right crazy people because of the Donald Trump era? What are your thoughts on that?
I used to say that the Trump stuff was unique, and I do think it is unique to some extent. I think it's pretty cultish. The guy who did the keys to the White House, the 13 keys, Alan Lichtman, I had a conversation with him, and he said something that stuck with me, that conservatives have been up to these kind of tricks for a long time. And you know what? I think they have been. I think if you look at the ones I was going to the Ken Starr investigation into the Clintons for the Monica Lewinsky stuff, it didn't start that way. This was like 5 years of dirt digging in order to find this, or the Al Gore election that was given up way too early because he didn't want to run past the safe harbor date for the Electoral Count Act. You know, that law that Trump openly was trying to break for his Jan 6, 2020 stuff. When McConnell came in, he was going to make Obama one-term president. You know, he robbed us of our Supreme Court pick. I think the Conservative Party has been a little bit, I'll say, no, it has been greatly unhinged for quite a while. And there's been no corrective mechanism that's ever been applied to that side because they have no restraint, and they haven't felt the need to ever have or show restraint.
Destiny, do you feel like we should take Trump seriously when he talks about a third term, when he jokes around about that? Do you think there's actually a possibility that he will not leave? Do you think there's some seriousness to that when some say he's going to run for a third term? You know, Trump 2028 hats. Do you take any of that seriously? I guess that's my question.
So I don't think it matters if he's serious or not. What you need to do when you're talking to conservatives, because they'll say, oh, he's joking. Oh, whatever. People will get hyperfixated on that. Well, is he being serious? Well, I don't know. We can't tell. Well, what if we, ask them, oh, okay. If he runs for a third term, would you vote for him? And all of them will say yes. The problem isn't whether or not he's being serious. It's that one day conservatives will say he's joking about a thing, and then tomorrow he'll do it, and then the day after they'll defend it. That's the problem. You've never had this moment where people will say like, oh, Trump's just joking about this thing, and then he does the thing, and they're like, oof, that's actually not cool. I thought he was just joking when he said that. They're always eager to defend the thing right after. So whether Trump's joking or not, I think a lot of conservatives would defend him running for a third term, and that's really the truly horrifying part.
The one thing that you would want all Democrats, elected officials, to do right now that they are not doing, what would that be?
Stop shying away from the Democratic platform. I think that the Democrats have accomplished a lot of things that they can be proud of. I know there's so many memes and jokes about Biden being senile and everything, but Biden came in sandwiched between two Trump presidencies. This is just like the most divisive point in probably all of U.S. history, not all of like human history, considering like social media and the internet, right? Like we're coming in on the back of COVID. You had the Ukraine-Russia war. You had all the Israel-Palestine stuff. There was just the whole world economy was shut down. Like there was so much stuff going on. And Biden came in. He held decorum, I think, in an insanely admirable way. He passed insanely huge bipartisan legislation that was wildly popular, whether people want to admit it or not. When Trump comes in and he talks about all these huge investments from all these manufacturing plants, a lot of it was because of the CHIPS Act. A lot of it was because of the Inflation Reduction Act. A lot of these states and cities that don't have to worry about, their budgets being completely screwed was because of ARPA, the American Rescue Plan, a lot of funds that went to these local districts. Like Biden did a lot of really good stuff. People need to stop shying away from Democratic accomplishments. There's this weird thing that happens where there's so much virtue for throwing your own party under the bus. Like you come in and you're like, okay, I know that, the Clintons were bad and Biden was bad and everything was bad, but like hear me out on this one thing. Like no, like stand taller on that. I just as a quick point, I had a guy who argued with me, some InfoWars dude. He was screaming like, oh, aren't blue cities, like don't they have all this crime and aren't they too expensive to live? And it's like, yeah, that is true. These are also the most economically prosperous places in the entire United States. Will you at least admit that? And they never will. There's a reason why these places are expensive to live, because people there have so much money, because they're making money, because they're doing the most productive labor in the whole country, in the whole world.
I saw that debate, and I'm trying to remember that guy that you were debating from InfoWars, because he's done some segments about me and he's tried to trash me. But I think
Owen Schroyer, I think was his name.
Yeah. You did a great job, by the way, in that you just absolutely destroyed him with that argument. These people are so stupid. He's saying, well, the cost of living, this is a Democrat city and state. Well, why is that? It's like they don't even look at the cause and effect of it. That's a good thing, because a lot of people want to live there. That's why it's expensive. It's like, He doesn't even think in that era, but it's amazing because he has a huge platform, Destiny. A guy like Schroyer has a huge platform. Alex Jones, Charlie Kirk, these types of people have huge platforms. So I guess my question to you is, how dangerous are these people where Nick Fuentes of the world and others have these large platforms that a lot of young people do listen to? How dangerous is that for society?
I mean, I would say a lot of the weird neo-Nazi-ish rhetoric is kind of on the rise again on the internet. And I think that's something that should be paid attention to. But I think that's fundamentally a separate problem right now than the whole MAGA stuff. And the reason why these platforms are so dangerous is because if you hear one person say something, it's going to be echoed from top to bottom. You've got Donald Trump calling into Fox and Friends, who are hosting people like Charlie Kirk, who are going on programs with Donald Trump's children, who are appearing on, Steve Bannon's shows on Rumble. And it's this top to bottom messaging is lockstep from all of these conservative figures. And it's what makes any one of these individuals so, I think, so scary and so threatening. Is the fact that they all work together on all of their media planning at all points in time.
Last question, Destiny, and I really do appreciate your time. When do you think the MAGA movement will be over? Will it be over when Donald Trump leaves office, hopefully? Or do you feel like if a J.D. Vance runs, do you think the MAGA movement, because, you know, Trump will still be around in some ability, the MAGA movement will continue years after Donald Trump leaves office?
I think that Donald Trump is incredibly narcissistic. So I don't think he's like a kingmaker. He's not interested in picking somebody to follow in his wake. The scariest thing that could happen right now is for some charismatic figure to start to come up. They can capture that MAGA movement. They haven't appeared yet. And as long as they don't, I would imagine the MAGA movement would largely disband after Trump is out of office.
Let's hope so.
There's going to be some group of people that'll still be there, but like Vance is not the guy. And I haven't seen, none of his children seem to work. So yeah.
That's true. Destiny, keep up the good work, my friend. I hope you have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you and meeting you in December with the UNF America Tour. It's going to be a lot of fun, my friend. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. That's Destiny, everybody. Also known as Steven. But he is, there's a reason why he is so popular and such a popular streamer. The reason for that is because he's very smart. He's very articulate. He's very opinionated. And I respect Destiny a lot. I think he does a really good job. And I really do appreciate him taking the time to join us again. And yes, I am part of the UNF America Tour. And yes, Destiny's a part of the UNF America Tour as well. We had Robbie Roadsteamer on the show yesterday. Love Robbie. There's a lot of really awesome people that are part of this UNF America Tour. I am a part of it. I will be there in Phoenix. So if you want to come out and meet me and Destiny and all the other guys, we will be there in Phoenix when Donald Trump is there. And we are going to try to attempt to have some sort of discussion with Charlie Kirk. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm looking forward to meeting all these guys in person. I've been talking to them on the phone and they've been doing my shows, and it'll be nice to be able to meet all of them. Dying Breed is on the YouTube super chat. Says Zelensky, president of Ukraine, gets attacked by Russian dictator Putin, who is a war criminal. Zelensky gets yelled at in the Oval Office by Trump, but rolls out the red carpet and warmly greets Putin. Awful. Breed, that is exactly the point that I made on social media earlier today. It's despicable. It's disgusting. And you're right. Donald Trump has treated Vladimir Putin better than he treats some Democrat politicians in the United States of America. That is despicable. They have rolled out the red carpet for Putin. We know that this summit is already underway. So we're going to take your phone calls on that as well. What do you think is going to happen with this summit between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump? Do you think anything is going to come out of this? So that's what we're talking about today. Obviously, I want to get your thoughts on Gavin Newsom as well. What do you think about Gavin Newsom? What do you think about Newsom 2.0, as I would call it, being more aggressive when it comes to Donald Trump? The press conference he held yesterday, I thought he did a really good job. So those are the questions that I'm asking you right now. And the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you do want to be a part of the conversation, that number is 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. We just had a very popular left-leaning streamer, probably one of the most popular out there, Destiny, joining us on the program, and we're taking your phone calls now. 702-221-7283. I want to start off with Brandon. Brandon is first up on PTL. Hi, Brandon. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. Good afternoon here. I came across your show here on YouTube, and I just have to disagree with some of the stuff you say. The way you talk about people that vote for Donald Trump is just deplorable.
What did I say?
What
did I say?
You say people that have a different opinion, you call them morons.
Never said that. Never said that. Nope. Never said that. You're absolutely wrong. You're characterizing me as saying that every single person who voted for Donald Trump is a moron or a buffoon. I never said that, sir. I've never categorized every single person that voted for Donald Trump that way. So what you're saying is factually inaccurate. So if you'd like to have a real debate or conversation about what you disagree with me on, I'm happy to do that with you. But never have I ever generalized every single person who voted for Donald Trump as a buffoon or moron. So you're wrong.
All right. Well, what area that I do disagree with you heavily on is you're talking about Trump bringing the National Guard to Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is such a great thing. He did it in Los Angeles. We need to see more of it. Because.
So what are they trained to do? Are they trained to have people abide by the law? What's their training skills, sir?
Well, they're cleansing the country from this infestation.
Didn't ask you if they were. I didn't ask
stuff.
you if they were cleansing the country or not. That's your opinion. I asked you a question. What are they trained to do? They're not trained to cleanse the country. Are they trained to do what local law enforcement are trained to do, which is make arrests and uphold the law? Is that what they're trained to do, sir?
Not necessarily.
No,
but
it's
their
not.
presence is
No,
enough.
it's not necessarily. The answer is no, not necessarily. So let's go with that for a moment. We obviously disagree, and that's fine. So you agree with me that the stats clearly show, according to Caroline Levitt and Kash Patel, that crime is way down in D.C., especially violent crime, lowest since it's been in the 1960s. So you agree with that, right?
I don't. There's all these savages running wild there, and all these.
There's all these savages running. There's all these savages running wild. I didn't ask you if your opinion was on how many savages you think are running wild. I would assume you don't even live there. The question was, do you agree with Caroline Levitt and Kash Patel that crime is way down in D.C.? It's a yes or no answer, sir. I didn't ask you about savages. I don't care what your opinions are on savages. Do you agree that crime is down in D.C. 30%?
Yes, I do agree.
Okay,
with that.
okay. Thank you for answering that question. So by your standards, in the last 2 years, violent crime is down in D.C. 30%, the lowest it's been since the 1960s, yet you're still okay with Donald Trump calling in the National Guard that are not trained to deal with the homeless people, that are not trained to deal with people that just break the law to uphold the law. So by your standards, you would say that the National Guard should be called out to every large city in the country then, right, sir? According by your standards.
Absolutely.
So the National
Yes,
Guard,
good to show
so
some
by your
muscle.
standards, the National Guard should be in every single city in the country. Do you want martial law, sir? Is that what you want?
I just want some order.
You want some order. So you think, would you call January 6th order? Why didn't he call in the National Guard on January 6th?
Because it was a peaceful event. I mean,
that
what do
wasn't
you
a
want?
peaceful event. 140 officers were injured. You saw the videos of police officers being beaten with your own batons. Are you really that ignorant? You see, when I use the term buffoon and moron, I'm talking about people like you. You just said that it was peaceful. People died that day and 140 officers were injured. There are officers that have traumatic brain injury from that day. There are officers that lost fingers. And how dare you be so stupid as to call that day peaceful? It was not peaceful, sir. And you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. So when I use the term buffoon and moron, keep in mind, every time I say it, I'm talking about people like you. There was nothing about January 6th that was peaceful. Okay. There were over 800 violent criminals that day, some of whom beat police officers with their own baton and pepper sprayed officers. How dare you make an ignorant, stupid statement like that January 6th was peaceful? So you think there are all these hoodlums walking around in D.C., even though you don't live there, but you don't think Donald Trump should have called out the National Guard on January 6th because you think that was peaceful. Is that your claim, sir?
It was a peaceful demonstration.
All right, then you're an idiot. Then you're an idiot. Get off my show. Then you're a complete idiot. You are an idiot. Do I stutter? 140 officers were injured that day. People died that day. A woman was trampled that day. Officer Sitnick died the next day. Officers committed suicide, and 140 officers were sent to the hospital, some of whom now have to struggle with traumatic brain injury. You are a moron and an idiot. And remember, every single time I say that on this show, I'm not saying that about every person that voted for Donald Trump, but I'm certainly talking about people like you. You're a jackass, and I hope you get deported to Gaza. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Jarvis. Jarvis is next up on PTL. Hey, Jarvis.
You just torch these guys, man. I love it. I love it. The thing I like about you and Destiny is the fact that you guys just say it how it is, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem with these MAGAs is that they need visuals. They need to see the picture. They can't just hear it. Like when we bring up a stat about crime, they're not going to believe us. But if you show it to them, I know it's a radio show, but I think that's the way that Dems have to go about it going forward to try and convince some of these MAGAs, if we can, about the facts. Because the facts, they don't care about the facts, but they care about hyperbole. They care about visuals because, like you said, they aren't smart. They're not intelligent. So I think a way to get through to these freaking idiots is we have to visually show them the stats, visually show them the evidence, visually show them these stuff, because they'll just take one little instance and just run with it. right? They're like, oh, there's a crime. Crime just this illegal immigrant did this X, Y, and Z, so it's happening everywhere. And they just see it on TV. So they
How
just take
can you
it in
have? I want you to think about this, Jarvis. I agree with what you just said. There's a guy calling into this show who would be totally okay with the National Guard being called out to every large city in the country. Think about what the country would look like if that happened. Yet he calls January 6th a peaceful protest. You cannot have any conversation with a moron like that. They are not smart enough. They're ill-informed. And, you know, we all saw the video of what took place on January 6th. Yet this guy is worried about, as he would call the hoodlums that are running around D.C., even though he openly admitted that crime is way down in D.C. You can't have a good faith conversation with these people. You can't.
What I think you and Destiny should do, I think you guys should team up and travel to these states and, you know, where the MAGAs are heavy. And I think you guys need to just sit down and do these almost like a tour and just go at these guys, have a little debate, post it online. And I think that's what I think you need to do. You are great at what you do. I think you need to go around the country and go after these guys and post on YouTube and fight like that, because, you know, they call in, but most of them are scared. You need to go into their country. You need to go into not their country. You need to go into their little area, their little bubble, and go after it.
Well, I would gladly do that. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. I would gladly do that. I like Destiny a lot. I can tell you that I just came on board the Un-F America tour that Destiny is a part of, and we will be traveling to Phoenix, and we will be there together. So we'll see how that goes, and maybe I'll talk to Destiny about that. But that's something I would gladly do, go on the road and debate these people. Listen, I'll debate anybody. You know, I'm not afraid to debate anybody. I think I've proved that on this show for the last couple of years. But I can tell you right now, there's no doubt about that. By the way, if you're just joining us, you're listening to KSHP 107.1 FM, 1400 AM. And I can tell you, we're also on YouTube at PTL Radio Show. And the website is pushingthelimits.live. We're taking more of your YouTube super chat questions. And those of you that are listening on social media, the only way to debate me or call is to call in. The only way to have a conversation with me is to call in. I keep giving out the number, so I'll give it out again. That number is 702-221-7283, 702-221-SAVE. We do have 6 phone lines. They are usually always full. They are full right now. So if you get the busy signal, my recommendation to you is to call when we hang up on somebody. Foxboy on the YouTube super chat says it feels like the U.S. is turning into a Revolutionary War period England. It's scary as hell. Yes, it is, Foxboy. I agree with you. It is scary. All we can do is talk about it. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Peter. Peter is next up on PTL. Hey, Peter, what's up?
Hey, Brian. Did you see Piers Morgan's good luck post to Trump today?
I did not. What did he say?
Maybe you can ask him about it next time you're on the show. He posted a picture of Trump on a plane or on the top of the stairs and said, "Good luck, all this." Didn't realize that Trump had red knee pads on. Someone edited the picture. So he deleted it and then commented to someone saying, "Did you not see it?" Whatever. He's like, "No, I didn't see it." But they're big red knee pads.
I'm looking at the picture right now as my producer shows me. You know, here's my opinion on Piers, okay? This is my personal opinion, and some people are able to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me phrase it like this. I believe Piers agrees with me a lot on social issues when it comes to gun control, when it comes to abortion, when it comes to the homeless. I really believe that he leans to the left on a lot of issues. However, like many others in the media, at times, I think he coddles Donald Trump because he knows it's good for his show and he wants to get both sides to tune in. That's my personal opinion. I believe at heart he is a Democrat. I believe at heart he is socially very liberal. And I believe he knows who Donald Trump really is. But my opinion on Piers Morgan, and I don't think Piers Morgan is stupid. I think he's a pretty smart guy. But I do believe he coddles to the far right base so that they will come on his show and that he could have these good spirited debates. And it's good for his ratings. That's how I feel about Piers Morgan.
Do you think there's any chance that he did see the knee pads?
I would say probably not, because it makes him look pretty. I mean, let's be honest. It makes him look pretty foolish that he retweeted that and made a comment on it. I would say he's a very busy guy. he probably retweeted it and quoted it without looking at the actual picture. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, that is super funny. I'm glad you see it now.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I just
everything. Maybe ask him about it next time.
I might ask him if he's wearing those knee pads himself next time, just for you. Okay. Thanks for calling in. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Hey, thank you, Brian. Just 3 comments. First one is to the caller who stated that you called MAGA supporters buffoons. No, Brian, don't unless you make a dumbass comment. But I'm calling you buffoons, and I'm also stating that you all, whoever stands with Trump, is pedophile protectors. You are a child molester protector. That's what you people are.
Well, I think some of them are.
Second comment is you asked the question as to did people become racist or have this way of thinking since Trump has taken office? Absolutely not. It's you grow up being a racist by what your parents say, what your parents do, what your friends around you do and say. That's how you form to be a racist. You don't just become a racist because Trump is saying it. For most people, you already formed yourself on who you are.
Right.
Last one is, well, the military is being brought in to get the country used to it. But with Gavin Newsom, yeah, I agree with what he's doing. He has no choice because the state was invaded. But what I'm saying is, do I 100% trust Newsom? No, I don't. But I would vote for him over any Republican.
Oh, sure.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that he had a civil conversation with Charlie Kirk, whatever.
Mark, I didn't like
and
that.
His kid watches Charlie Kirk.
Mark.
My governor wouldn't do that.
Mark, I criticized him, if you recall, for doing that. I hated it. However, I like what I've seen from Gavin Newsom over the course of the last few months. And maybe something happened to Gavin Newsom where he said, okay, it's time to fight back now. I don't know. All I'm simply saying is I like what I've seen from Gavin Newsom over the course of the last few months. I do believe he is an electable president. I know that there are others out there that I am fans of, including the mayor of Baltimore, including Josh Shapiro. There are others out there. But I certainly think you have to put Gavin Newsom in that mix. He certainly wants to be president. And I would choose Gavin Newsom over any of these MAGA Republicans right now. I'll tell you that right now. There's no question about that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Terry. Terry's next up on PTL. Hey, Terry, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Good afternoon. I'm 69 years old. I've been through a number of elections, obviously. And I'm sitting here trying to process a U.S. president who's a convicted felon and a Russian dictator and murderer meeting on American soil. It's just absolutely, I'm just totally baffled here. And secondly, I just want to applaud the direction that Gavin Newsom has taken, doing a great job right now of standing up, speaking out, and pushing back.
I agree 150%, my dear. And I appreciate your call, Terry. And yeah, I am just as disgusted as you are that the red carpet has been rolled out for an evil dictator in Vladimir Putin. I think it's gross. Who are we going to next year? Let's go to Jung next. Jung is next up on PTL. Hello, Jung.
Hello, Brian. First-time caller. I've been watching your show for a couple of months. I appreciate
Thank you.
What you do. And just to see that Russian dictator land in Anchorage and to have this meeting with the orange orangutan is just ridiculous. But I just wanted to give a shout out to all the protesters that were out there supporting Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And we are also doing a protest tomorrow in downtown Anchorage. And so,
oh, good. So that's where you live. You live in Anchorage.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
yes, I am.
So, Jung, how have the people, the locals out there? Obviously, you haven't talked to everybody, but as a sense of what are you getting? The fact that Putin landed in Alaska and they rolled out the red carpet for him. As a local who lives there, how does that make you feel?
It just makes my blood boil to the point where it's like, I cannot believe this is going on. And of course, Alaska is a red state, and I'm pretty sure there's the mega buffoons out there waiting outside just to get noticed by that orange orangutan just driving by, and he doesn't care about those Alaskans. And I can't believe there's deplorables out there that are still believing in this guy.
Well, according to Sarah Palin, she could see Russia. That's what she said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. God, Sarah Palin. There's another beauty. And by the way, I don't mean that in a positive way. So you have now Vladimir Putin, the evil dictator, meeting with Trump. Now, do you disagree with me? Trump just today has called him a very smart guy who's been doing this for a very long time. Can you imagine the way that Donald Trump is coddling Putin right now in a room somewhere?
Oh, and what's more ridiculous is for the delegates that are coming from Washington, D.C. and Russia, they're putting them in our university dorms that are occupied.
Yeah.
And also they're going to this resort that is outside of Anchorage. And for those that are wanting to go to this ski resort, they're offering $4,000 a night.
Oh my God. That's pretty outrageous. What would you say to those in Anchorage, Alaska? And I'm not saying that there are many of them, but as you did say, it's a red state. What would you say to those that are welcoming not only Donald Trump, but Vladimir Putin to their city? What would you say to them?
I would say that you guys need to wake up. And they say liberals are woke. Come on. I mean, and also there are friends of mine that are Democrats and independents that support this fascist, that doesn't support this fascist, but for those that are supporting this protest against Trump, I would like to say thank you and keep up the good work that you guys do. And there's a group called Stand Up Alaska, and they normally organize most of the protests that go on monthly. Mm-hmm. And there's at least 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 people that come up and protest against this president that should not be in office and should be impeached.
I agree.
And should be out. But
yep, yeah. I agree. Jung, I appreciate your call, my friend. Stay safe out there in Alaska, and I appreciate what you're doing. And I'm glad that there are people like you out there, my friend. Thank you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin is next up on PTL. Hey, Kevin, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, first off, my hat's off to you and Robbie. I'm new to listening to you guys, but probably about 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 months, you guys pop up on YouTube, and you guys are the future of, I don't want to see the Democratic Party no more, because the Democratic Party does not exist. And they are one of the reasons why we are in this mess, because they have allowed the Republicans to get back in this game since Gore.
How do you think they did that? How do you think that happened? What did they do wrong?
Well, the thing is, they're still not listening to the American people. They're not listening. They have not made one change since they lost the election. Nothing.
Yeah.
They are doing business as usual. Trump is a bad man. They ran that playbook and they lost. And then why is Debbie Wasserman Schultz showing her fat face on TV? She's one of the reasons why we lost the youth vote, because when she rigged the primaries against Bernie, okay, when they wanted to pick the corporate Democrat instead of the populists, that's why we lost the youth vote. We had the youth vote in the Democratic Party with Bernie.
Okay, but Kevin, I agree with most of the stuff you're saying, but I would even put it in layman's terms. One of the main reasons why Trump got back into office, one of the reasons, is because Joe Biden did not step down early enough. We only got 3 months for Kamala Harris. It wasn't her fault. Number two, I thought the campaign of Kamala Harris, those that worked for Kamala Harris, failed this country. Number three, you have all these podcasters, all these young podcasters on the right, and there's not enough podcasters on the left, and she certainly didn't do enough of those shows. That would be number three. And listen, I'm just going to say this, and it breaks my heart to say this, and it makes me sad to say this, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. Women are 0-2 against Donald Trump. Now, I have no problem with a woman becoming president. Obviously, I voted for Kamala Harris. But the reality of the situation is they're 0-2 against Donald Trump, and the Democrats are going to have to look at that. Somebody like an AOC or a Jasmine Crockett or somebody of that nature running as vice president, I think would be great. But I think you have to have a guy run for president. I'm not sure the country's ready for a female president. Now, I am. I'm sure you are. I would love to see a very intelligent and strong woman be the president of the United States. I don't have a problem with it at all. But America seems to have a problem with it. So I think there's a lot of different variables in there.
Brian, you're absolutely 200% correct. But the one thing is that you're leaving out. Biden should never ran in the first term. He should never ran in the first term. The problem was, though, is that when Barack Obama left office, it was going to be I am entitled to the next presidency. And the Clintons opt over Biden. Okay. And they pushed Clinton when she was beyond a flawed candidate.
She ran a horrible campaign and she didn't resonate with the American people, but I'm going to disagree with you on this one. Remember, Joe Biden won in 2020. He ran a good campaign. I will tell you as a whole, I think Joe Biden was a pretty damn decent president under very difficult circumstances, under COVID and everything else. The criticism that I give Joe Biden is not dating back to 2020 because he defeated Donald Trump. The criticism is very simple to me. He's a good man. I think he has a good family. He's a good father. He's a good husband. He's got moral clarity. But the bottom line is Joe Biden should have stepped down earlier, and I think that is the main reason. It's not the only reason, but I think it's the main reason why Trump got back into office. And the fact that there's a lot of ill-informed people in this country that voted for Trump, obviously.
Brian, Barack Obama was a populist. He portrayed himself as a progressive. If you look at his voting record, he was a Reagan conservative, but he ran as a populist. He filled stadiums. Bernie was filling stadiums. To not tell me Joe Biden was filling stadiums.
Joe Biden was, listen, there are not many people to compare to Barack Obama. He's probably the best public speaker of my lifetime. He gave that energy. Joe Biden didn't have that energy. Okay. I will also agree with you that Bernie Sanders is a better public speaker and he has a larger following. But keep in mind, again, Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump. We can't fault him for that. He defeated Donald Trump. Now, looking back on things, I wish Joe Biden lost in 2020, and then Donald Trump had to take over that horrible economy. But
we went from a populist back to a corporate Democrat. We went away from what won. Populism is what won. That's what made.
So, what do you think about Gavin Newsom? What do you think about Newsom?
I like Gavin, but I don't want him to run. He is a great speaker. But American people are tired.
So who should run? I don't think Bernie Sanders.
Somebody that's not a politician. Somebody that's not a politician. I'm not saying Oprah, but somebody that has money that can that can basically fund their own campaign. We need to start a third party. But again, the Democratic Party has made zero changes since they lost, Brian. Respectfully, that's what scares the crap out of me, is that we are going on a suicide mission in the midterms. Okay, we don't have a leader. Who's leading the Democratic Party, my brother?
Well, I can tell you there's a few, and I appreciate your call. I think you asked some very good questions, and I'm happy to. I think Tellerico out in Texas is a rising star. I've told you my feelings on AOC and Jasmine Crockett. I like Josh Shapiro. I think Josh Shapiro would be a really good candidate. The mayor of Baltimore would be a really good candidate. There are some young up-and-comers within the party, and I think you put Gavin Newsom up on a stage with those people and see who shines the brightest. Let's figure it out. But I think there are some people out there. I don't think a third party is the way to go, my friend. I'm sorry. I'm not going the Elon Musk route. I don't think a third party is the way to go. 702. Thank you for the call, by the way. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Chris. Chris is next up on PTL. Hey, Chris, what's going on?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi. Yes. Hi, Brian. Yes, I'm actually a first-time caller. I've been trying to call in for quite a while. Well, the only problem is I work second shift Monday through Thursdays, and I've been working Fridays quite a bit as of late, so I haven't really had the chance. But anyways, I just wanted to say I cannot help but agree with you on so many things that have been happening as of late, especially the way you talk to these MAGA people. And I'm trying to keep it as low tone as possible because I tend to cuss like a sailor, so I'm trying to keep that tone down quite a bit. But anyways, I just can't help but be just so scared as to how many brainwashed people there are in this country right now. It's scary because the fact that when it's like, as far as they're concerned, Donald Trump could do absolutely no wrong whatsoever. He can do no wrong. But yet anybody who opposes him is a criminal. I just don't understand. It's scary. And there's one thing, and one thing I'll definitely say, and I know I'm kind of going over the place here, but there is somebody you talk to, like when he was saying, don't you give Donald Trump, credit for anything? And you said it best when you said that you give him credit for exposing how many racist and idiotic people there are in this country.
Yeah, it's true. That's what I give him the most credit for. It's amazing to me how he proved how many stupid people there are in this country.
Oh my God, I can't. There's not enough words to describe it, because I mean, it's like three-quarters of these MAGA people that call into the show, and when you just absolutely crucify and fry them, they don't know what to say, because a lot of these people, it's like they're allergic to logic. They can't
in their
stand
own.
logic.
Well, I appreciate those comments, my friend. They're in their own right-wing echo chamber, and when you listen to the radio, 99% of political radio is right-wing radical radio. You have idiots like Sean Hannity and Mark Levin and Clay Travis. These are people that are not capable. They're not even capable of looking at both sides of an issue. And when you have people like that, and they spew the garbage that they spew every day, people listen to it. They believe it. If you watch Newsmax every day, people get brainwashed. They believe it. They get their news information from idiots like Laura Ingraham and Jesse Waters. What do you expect? These people are not smart enough to, look at the facts at their own and then form opinions based on truth. They just listen to what Jesse Waters feeds them every day. So I feel bad for these people. By the way, in regards to this summit that's taking place, there was a reporter that asked Vladimir Putin to his face if he can commit to not taking the lives of any more civilians. And Putin never answered the question. So the answer, I can tell you right now, the answer is no. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Vivian. Vivian is next up on PTL. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Brian. How you doing today?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
What I feel is that the organization of the news, or where we get the news, is what the issue is. We're getting mixed messages from corporate and then from podcasters, where on the right, you're getting the same message all over. So therefore, it's being reinforced, the crazy thoughts that they have, the crazy things that they're doing. And we're not getting that on our side. And that's a big problem to me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And it's interesting because this is an interesting ticket, since we have you on the line on the YouTube Super Chat. Ginger Ninja. I like that name, by the way, because I am a ginger myself. I wouldn't call myself a ninja. But he says, Jon Stewart AOC ticket or Tallarico AOC ticket 2028. I don't think Jon Stewart wants to run for office, but I think he'd do a hell of a great job. And I think Tallarico would be a great president. I really do. I know he's young. I get it. But I think a Tallarico AOC ticket would be a hot ticket. I really think it would be a good one. How do you feel about that?
I think we need a fighter. We need someone who's going to fight, that's showing us that they're fighting. I mean, right now, the Democrats have no reason to even get out and vote, because they like, for who?
Yeah.
And that's where they're at right now, because they don't feel as if no one's in their corner, no one's fighting for them. And they're letting the Republicans just run roughside all over them, doing whatever they want. And they don't seem like they're fighting. Getting up and saying speeches is not helping me.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm with you. I'm with you, Vivian, 150%. We need a fighter. The good news is we have some fighters within the Democrat Party. Maybe not enough, but we have some. Jon Stewart's definitely a fighter. Boy, wouldn't that be the perfect candidate? Like, I know someone mentioned Oprah. Jon Stewart, extremely smart, can debate anybody. He's on the right side of history. He's a moderate Democrat. I just don't think Jon Stewart would want to run. I mean, Michelle Obama's another name. She doesn't want to run for office. And quite frankly, I don't blame her, but we might need somebody like that in 2028. 702-221-7283. Again, that number to call. We do have two phone lines open. 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Tyrone. Tyrone is next up on PTL. Hey, Tyrone, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Hope you have a good weekend. First of all, I'm in Baltimore. No to Brandon Scott. Okay. Just I see him up close. No, he's no. Democrats, just like their previous guy about 2 or 3 callers ago, who was railing about Biden and Kamala and said he liked Gavin Newsom, but he wouldn't vote for him. These are the type of people that cost us the election last time. Democrats have too many purity tests. Where are all the people that were screaming and crying about Gaza during the election, calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe. Where are they at now? Because, I mean, it's gone 10 times as worse. It's gotten 10 times as worse in Gaza.
Yep.
Than it was when Biden was in office. Where are those people that were
Yeah, it is
protesting?
interesting. All the people with the Palestinian flags and all the people that were calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe. That's a very good question. They were outside the Democrat National Convention. Where are all those idiots now? By the way, Joe Biden was not committing genocide. If you want to criticize anybody, you criticize Hamas and you criticize the Israeli government, okay? But you don't criticize Joe Biden. He didn't want any of that stuff to happen. And by the way, he wasn't coddling the Israeli government the way Donald Trump does either.
Exactly. Joe Biden didn't put up a commercial about Gaza, Trump, Gaza, whatever the heck that was.
Right.
I know my time is limited. Listen, there's no purity test. The test for Democrats going forward is anybody but Trump. It can be Gavin Newsom. It can be
I agree.
Eric Swalwalter. Now I'm gonna say this. I hear what people are saying about these fantasy tickets like Jon Stewart and Jasmine Crockett or so and so, Oprah Winfrey, and insert John Cena. I mean, I don't. You can't have that. You're gonna need a politician to come in because there's going to be so much.
Well, listen, Gavin Newsom. People can say whatever they want about him, but he is a polished politician. Okay.
Yeah.
He has the look. He's by far, and smart enough. He can debate anybody. Now, listen, I have my frustrations with Gavin Newsom about some things. However, let me be very clear on this. And I even said this several months ago when I was very angry at the way he interviewed Charlie Kirk. I would vote for Gavin Newsom over virtually any Republican right now today. Hands down.
Absolutely. We are in a hole right now as Democrats and as independents. I know you're independent. We're in a hole right now. Anybody that's willing to extend their hand down to help pull us up out that hole and restore our democracy, we've got to take their hand. There's no time for the purity test and, where do you stand on transgender and how do you feel about? No, it's you are not Trump. That person's going to have to come in and fix so much stuff, Brian. So, because we're not even 1 year in. So if we get to 28, we get to 26, we get the midterms, we get to 28, you need a polished politician who knows how to run government. And I'm going to say a name that they won't run because their time is coming past. The person you would need to fix all the stuff that Trump is breaking across government is Hillary Clinton. That is legitimately the truth.
Okay, but I hear you, but hold on a second. There's a reason why she lost in 2016. Now I know she's
I'm not saying her.
I know she's overqualified. I know she's overqualified.
Yeah.
I know she's a very intelligent woman. She did not resonate with all of America. And I'm going to be honest with you. Back in 2016, she didn't resonate with me. Now I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I think that time has passed for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brian. I'm not saying her specifically. I'm saying someone like her.
I understand.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, there's not many.
There's
not many people with her experience, but I will tell you this: women. Again, I'm going to repeat this. Maybe to no fault of their own, but women are 0-2 against Donald Trump. And
it could be a man or woman.
Well,
Brian. It could be a man or woman.
Who?
Somebody with the experience.
Who? Name me one person that has the experience.
I'm going to be straight. I'm going to say Gavin Newsom, Shapiro in Philly.
Okay.
With a good, strong vice president candidate, hopefully a black female. Pritzker up in you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, Pritzker.
Roy Cooper coming out of North Carolina.
Yeah, those are all men, though. But those are all men.
Well, let me what I'm saying. I agree with you. This country is not ready for a woman president. This country is not ready. You might be 20, 25 years away from getting a woman president. Now, Trump could tear things up so much in the next. But listen. I
would say
Pete, one-armed midget.
I would love Pete Buttigieg to be the president, but I don't think America's ready for a gay president either. Now, I have no problem with that, just like I have no problem with a woman being the president. There's too many bigots in this country, and I love Pete. I think Pete Buttigieg is great. But
I don't have a problem with Pete.
Yeah, but a lot of people won't vote for him because of his sexuality, and that's how stupid some people are in this country.
No, they won't do it. But I'm saying the Democratic men that need to, they're going to have to come in and fix a lot, Brian. We need to really
Well,
think about that and give her those purity tests.
There's no question about that, my friend. Hey, I got to run. I appreciate the call, my friend. Great phone call. And I think that's the way Democrats need to think right now. Need to brainstorm. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Matthew. Matthew is next up on PTL. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, good Friday to you, Brian, and thank you for my call, sir.
Sure.
I'm sitting here watching the Trump-Putin summit in Anchorage, Alaska, and boy, let me tell you, it is something to see the fact that we have two Russian spies that are riding in the Beast. The first time I ever seen Vladimir Putin riding in a U.S. American president.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, do you remember the president of the United States and Putin in the same car together? Like, I don't remember that.
No, sir. This is the first for me. And hearkening back to some of your callers, also I have two questions too, but also, in my opinion, I believe that in order for the Democrats to get back on track, is they need to lean all the way to the left and adapt the progressive ideology. Now, if somebody was to ask me, are you a moderate or a progressive? I'm more of a progressive. I lean all the way to the left. And some of the people that you named that would be great candidates for the Democratic Party, the gentleman from Texas, Tallarico, I believe that he would be a good one. And I also believed that Vice President Harris would have did a much better job if she would have selected Josh Shapiro.
I said that when it happened. And listen, all due respect to Tim Walz. I've met Tim Walz. He's a really nice guy. I said it when it happened. But I believe that Josh Shapiro did not want to be Kamala Harris's VP. I believe he's waiting for the right time. I agree with you. I like Tim Walz. I think he's a very good man. I don't think it was a good choice. That was my personal opinion then. And I thought Tim Walz did not do a good job in the debate against J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance should have been easy pickings. J.D. Vance wouldn't even admit that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. J.D. Vance is the guy that started the lies about their eating the cats and the dogs. Tim Walz did not do a good enough job in that debate. I said it on the Don Lemon show that night. I said it the next day on the air here. I was disappointed in his performance, and I believe Kamala made a mistake, or maybe members of her campaign staff, whoever made the final decision. I agree with you. But I don't think that's the only reason why she lost, but I do think it's one of the reasons.
And also, too, the two questions I have, Brian, is, for one, it didn't state in the Mueller report back in 2017 of how many Republicans actually knew that Trump was going to use Russia's help to influence the 2016 election. And the second question is, mainly just my first question. Do you think that the truth will come out in the future, that we'll find out if the Republicans back then, if they knew that Trump was going to use Russia to hack into the election?
It's a really good question that you ask. Here's what I will tell you. MAGA Republicans say that the Mueller report exonerated Donald Trump. Not true. The Mueller report had multiple examples of obstruction. Robert Mueller decided that there wasn't enough to prosecute. That doesn't mean that there wasn't wrongdoing or criminal activity. Do I think that will ever be proven in a court of law? Probably not. Did Russia interfere in our elections? Already proven by our own CIA and FBI. Now, whether that influenced the outcome of the election, I don't know. Probably not. But we know that there was meddling. And there's proof of that. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to the MAGA Destroyer. It's always nice to catch up with Darlene. Darlene, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. First of all, you look very sexy in your blue shirt and your hat. Just want to let you know that.
Oh, well, that's nice of you. Maybe I'll wear this outfit on Saturday. I have a date with a beautiful young lady tomorrow night. So maybe I'll tell her that you said I should wear the blue.
That's right. Anyway, Brian, I just have a couple things I want to say.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to say, I want to thank you and your radio station, and I want to thank everybody out there that has had to put up with me, because today is 100 times that I have called in on your radio station.
Is today number
so this
100?
Is like my anniversary.
Well, how about that? Well, congratulations to
I
Darlene.
keep track. People are like, how do you know I keep track? So today's 100, and if I've offended any of y'all, too bad.
Well, I can't wait I can't wait till we get to 1,000.
Okay, but here's what I want, Brian.
Yes.
Did you hear about the man? Okay, there was a man at Gavin Newsom's get together. Anyway, there was an immigrant on the outside. Well, I started like going after him, and this man ran out into the road, got hit by a car, and died.
That's horrible.
Because of ICE. I didn't know if you had heard that.
I didn't hear that, but
true.
I didn't hear that, Darlene. But I'm going to tell you this. I've been saying this for a while now. There are bad things that are going to happen, and there are people that are going to lose their lives because of these ICE raids, and that can include unidentified ICE agents as well. Now, I don't want that to happen, but it's a recipe for disaster. What is going on throughout this country, and you got these morons like Dean Cain say, "Oh, I want to be an ICE agent," when these people have absolutely no training and they're wearing these masks over their face. Clearly, these are not all ICE agents. Clearly, all these people are not trained. Think about the mess that's going on in this country right now. You have all these people that are not identifying themselves, that claim that they're ICE agents, but they're not identifying themselves. We have the National Guard being called out in D.C. I mean, it's like a war zone out there. And for what? None of this stuff would have been happening under Kamala Harris. It's a dangerous time that we are living in right now, and I hope it doesn't get worse, but my fear is it will.
Well, if we've learned anything, you guys, before I go, when the Republicans and Trump are talking, just remember it's totally opposite of what they're saying. That's the real truth.
I agree,
and
Darlene.
That's what my advice is.
Happy 100
okay,
call.
Love you guys.
Happy 100 call anniversary, by the way, Darlene. We love you. 702-221-7283. Let's go all the way to the UK. I love it when Paul calls in. Paul, what's going on, man?
Hey, hi there, Brian. Just a couple of quick things. Listening to your various conversations. First of all, I have the Mueller report on my bookshelf. Within 10 pages, unequivocal, I can't say the word, without doubt that there was obstruction from Trump. There's no question about it. Within 10 pages, it makes it quite clear. That's the first thing. So the Mueller report's quite clear about this, but he couldn't prosecute, that's all. That was the only thing, but it's absolutely quite clear.
Yep.
The second, not related, which might amuse you, might have seen, J.D. Vance is in the UK in the Cotswolds, and we hate him, of course. He tried to book up in a local gastro pub, the whole pub, obviously, because of the entourage, and the staff said they'd walk out if they accepted the booking. So they cancelled the booking. So I thought it was quite funny. And the third thing, which is on a much more important note. So can you hear me still, Brian?
Say that again.
Oh, I think I will. Yeah, sorry. The third thing I'm saying. Sorry, I think you went a bit. There was regarding the meeting with Putin. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. Zelensky's not even in there. The protagonist, the person who started the whole thing, is talking to the idiot the idiot Trump. What's going to happen is Trump's going to come out saying he's got the greatest peace deal in history and he needs the Nobel Peace Prize. And basically, the deal is going to be give up Ukraine. Zelensky's got to give up Ukraine.
Well, they're gonna try to make Zelensky to be out the bad guy here. That's what the Trump administration has been doing since day one. They've called Zelensky a dictator. Trump has even accused Ukraine of starting this war, which is absolutely ridiculous. That would be saying Jews started the Holocaust. I mean, it's absurd. Okay. And what I believe is going to happen, as I've said before and I say again, is that Donald Trump is going to coddle to Vladimir Putin. Putin's going to want half of Ukraine. Trump will crumble. He'll be Taco Trump. He'll call Zelensky and say, this is what you have to do to end this war. Zelensky will say no, and then they will blame Zelensky. That's exactly what's going to happen here.
Absolutely. Of course, it's just bloody obvious. What more do you need to know about the way Trump is a pea brain compared to Putin? Putin is just laughing at him.
Yeah.
It's like Muhammad Ali in his prime fighting Larry David. Do you know what I mean? It's no concept.
Hey, I was just watching.
Going to wipe the floor with Trump.
I was just watching Curb Your Enthusiasm last night. I love Larry David.
He's so funny. I know, he's so funny. It's really good humor. I really like that. He really does make me laugh. And I like the one when he mocked Trump. There's one episode when he mocked Trump. He goes
the
around
MAGA hat and all
wearing
that
a
stuff.
MAGA.
Larry,
He wears the MAGA hat so he can get a seat in the restaurant.
Paul, I had the opportunity to meet Larry David a couple times, and I will be honest with you. He is the same guy off camera as he is on camera. Since it is a Friday, I'll give a little bit of levity. I'll give you a quick Larry David story. So I'm at the Michael Jordan's charity golf tournament. It's at Shadow Creek here in Las Vegas. Larry David was one of the celebrities. So I see Larry David on the tee box, and he's got all this suntan lotion. He looks like a ghost. He's got all this suntan lotion on his nose and all over his face. He looks ridiculous. This middle-aged guy named Jim asks Larry David for an autograph. Larry says, okay. He doesn't look like he's in a very good mood. He grabs the guy's piece of paper. And then Jim says, can you please make it out to Jim? And Larry got so angry. He looks at me, of course I'll make it out to Jim because you're the most important person in the world. Like he was genuinely angry that the guy said to personalize it. So then Larry takes the piece of paper, grabs it from him, and signs it to Jim, the most important person in the world, Larry David. I just felt like I was in a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. I'm like, oh my God, this is the real Larry David. Like this is who he really is. So everything you see in Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's genuinely who this man is. And that's why I love the show so much.
That's brilliant, that is. But we come back to that serious note about it. Trump's going to get nothing from Putin, and Europe's shaking. We're shaking, really. You've got this guy negotiating with that guy.
Yeah, it's sick. The times that we are living in.
Shaking with fear.
Well, I think we all are, and I don't think it's going to go really well. I don't think this meeting is going to go well for Ukraine. It's not going to go well for the United States. I think it's only going to go well for Vladimir Putin because he's playing Donald Trump like a fiddle. I appreciate the call, my friend. Always good to hear from you from the UK. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. Let's go to Jonah. Jonah is next up on PTL. Hello, Jonah.
Hey, how are you doing, man?
Good.
I just wanted to give you props because I just ran across your channel a couple of months ago, bro, and you were a beast. You went off on this dude, the black guy with a bald head with some other guys the other day. You had the Celtics jersey on. I fell off my couch laughing at this because
you are talking about the video where I was at a Trump rally, and that was Parker. And me and Parker were interviewing some Trump supporters, and this African-American Trump supporter comes up to me, and I posted it on my social media platforms.
Oh my
and
God.
he really made himself look very stupid. He did that all on his own.
Bro, you made him look like a buffoon, and it's so pure, and it was so real, and it's just like in real time of just destructing the mentality of an idiot.
Yeah.
That's a MAGA follower.
He really
and
was.
It's just so disappointing to see black people like that. What you was about to say? I'm sorry.
Well, 80% of black men, thank God, did not vote for Donald Trump, and 93% of black women did not vote for Donald Trump. So thank you to all of them. The reason why Donald Trump won the election is not because of minorities. People can say, well, he got the Latino vote. Listen, that's not why he won the election. Let me be very clear. Donald Trump won the election because of ill-informed and uneducated white people. 54% of white women voted for Donald Trump. He got the overwhelming amount of support from young white men. That's why Donald Trump won this election.
Yeah, that's true. And they're in these small towns, and they're, like you said, they're uneducated. They don't really go into reading and finding out about facts and fact finding, and you watch Fox News, and they don't watch other channels. You know, like it's cool, fine, that's cool, fine, but find another channel, like get another perspective.
What's
watch
the
NPR, like diagnose the the fact.
What's the name of Jason Aldean? It's like that song, right? I hate to sing it because he's such a horrible human being, but try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. I mean, what a stupid song. These stupid idiots in this country that listen to they listen to that whiny bitch sing that song. Try that in a small town. Yeah, Jason Aldean, you're really tough. You idiot. Oh my God.
Right, man. All these stuff. So it's just, I heard tomorrow is Saturday. Is everything? Are they doing the nationwide protest Saturday again? Is that going?
That's my understanding, my friend. I believe they are.
Okay.
It's good to hear from you. I hope you have a great weekend, and I do appreciate the compliment and the phone call. If you haven't seen that video, it has gone viral. It is me at a Trump rally with Parker. And we're interviewing and debating, more me debating this African-American Trump supporter. And it's on my YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio. So in a quick programming note for you, by the way, this is an independently owned radio show. I hear from emails from people all over the country every day. What can I do to help? I love what you do. Well, we're independent media. So the best thing you can do besides a YouTube super chat donation is go to my website. My website's pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website, pushingthelimits.live. You go to my website. Yeah, we sell PTL merchandise on there. Shirts, hats, beanies, you name it. But there's also a donate button there. Doesn't matter whether it's $5, $10, or $20 a month. Whatever you support the show, that's the best way to do it. Any type of donation on my website, which is pushingthelimits.live. We put it right there on the bottom of the screen for you. Make a donation, help support independently run media, and it allows us to keep the lights on. And we appreciate your support in advance. And there's so many generous people out there, and we thank all of you very much. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Kathy. Kathy is next up on PTL. Hey, Kathy, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, just wanted to give you some updates on the Russian convention. I'm getting some word from Moscow Times as to what's going on. First thing is that, of course, Trump sent out a fundraising email about his Putin meeting. It's a little chilly. The fundraising pitch said, this meeting is very high stakes for the world. No one knows in the world knows how to make deals like me. And he encouraged people to donate, suggesting they start with $10. Okay. Another thing is that the same Moscow Times is reporting is that nothing is going to happen from this meeting because Vladimir Zelensky was not included in the meeting. He says pretty much categorically they are not giving up the terms of the land in Ukraine so that they could end this war. It is Vladimir Putin who initiated the war. He must be the one to pretty much to get out of it. And I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
And would you believe that Jackalope had the unmitigated gall to said that he would be willing to discuss business opportunities with Putin?
He did say that. He said he was. He did say that. This is very important to note. He did say that, my dear, and you're 150% correct. Donald Trump was so happy that Vladimir Putin brought so many of his business partners to this meeting because Donald Trump really doesn't care about innocent lives lost in Ukraine. He just cares about making more money. You notice how he was so gleeful today when he found out that Vladimir Putin brought so many of his business partners to possibly do business with Donald Trump. You think Donald Trump is going to take the side of Vladimir Zelensky? Absolutely not. No chance in hell. No chance in hell. It's just absolutely insane. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Donald Trump putting out this email to all of his supporters asking for money. Why should we be surprised, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for the call, my dear. I appreciate you, Kathy. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry's next up on PTL. Hey, Jerry, what's going on?
Yeah, I just, I've been listening to the show today, and especially what the last caller said. She said that nothing's going to happen because Zelensky wasn't brought to the table. Why was the criticism a couple months ago when Trump went with Zelensky that he couldn't bring Putin to the table, and now there's still criticism now that Putin's at the table?
Okay,
I guess I just kind of like,
you're
going to call names, but I just think we need to give some credit.
I will only speak for myself. And I will say that I do not give Donald Trump any credit for coddling Vladimir Putin and rolling out the red carpet for him on American soil. No, I'm not going to give Donald Trump any credit. This is the guy who said the war would be over in 24 hours. He lied to the American people under false pretenses. We are no closer to ending the war now than when Donald Trump was in office on day one. So no, sir, with all due respect, I'm not giving Donald Trump any credit.
So you think we're objectively not at all closer?
Well, let's put it this way, sir. Let me ask you a question. Yesterday,
you said, hang on. You said that you don't think we're any way closer.
No, and I'm gonna. Okay, hold on. Here's why I said that. Okay, Jerry, last night, the night before Vladimir Putin is meeting Donald Trump on American soil, Putin knows what Trump wants. He wants the war to end, so he claims. There were airstrikes yesterday in Ukraine. And you want to ask me the question, do you think we're any closer? Does that not give you the answer? Every single time Donald Trump says, I think Putin wants peace, there's another airstrike where innocent women and children are dead. So why would you ask me that question?
Somebody to the table.
Last night, what do you mean to the table? What good does it do to bring somebody to the table when Donald Trump doesn't throw sanctions on Russia? Can you please tell me how Donald Trump has punished Vladimir Putin in the last 7 months? Tell me, other than
there's been no trade deals since he's taken office.
Give me a break. That's not a sanction. What has Russia given up? What has Donald Trump done to punish Vladimir Putin to say, I mean business, other than saying, well, we're going to extend the deadline up 50 days, 10 days.
Continue to give aid to Ukraine and bringing people to the table.
Joe Biden continued to give aid to the Ukraine, and people like you kept screaming against it. And bringing
I did not scream against it, actually. I like that we support our allies.
I'm
but
glad.
I think we need to get our allies to get this war over.
You think?
And I think that,
you think?
and I
So you think giving up half of Ukraine is the way to do that?
You are more worried about the fact that Joe Biden called him a murderer.
I haven't brought it. I haven't. Excuse me.
Him to the table.
Excuse me.
Trump
What good
to the table?
What good does it do to bring somebody to the quote unquote table when you're going to coddle to an evil, murderous dictator? What good does it do to have a conversation with someone when you know nothing is going to come out of it other than Taco Trump bending knee for Vladimir Putin? Let's see.
The alternative?
What's the alternative? I'll tell you what
end the war.
No, I'll tell you.
War.
Would you like me to answer? Would you like me to answer your question? I'll tell you what the alternative is. Here's the alternative. Number one, give sanctions to Russia, punish Vladimir Putin, continue to support Ukraine, which Donald Trump has not done. In fact, in the last 7 months, he's called Ukraine and he's called Zelensky a dictator. He's never called Putin a dictator. He said that Zelensky and Ukraine was responsible for starting this war. He hasn't called out Vladimir Putin for who he is. That's number one. Number two, you cannot reward an evil, murderous dictator for invading our allies. That is what Donald Trump continues to suggest.
How's he rewarding it?
By giving up. Are you kidding me? Are you not paying attention to the news?
Reward? Where's the reward?
I'm going to answer. I can't believe you don't know the answer. It's giving up land. Donald Trump believes that Zelensky
has any land been given up?
Because Zelensky hasn't agreed to it. Do you not follow the news? Do you not? That's what Putin wants.
This is the first time they're sitting down. Hang on. I also
this is not the first time they're sitting down. They've had a number of conversations, and this is not the first time they've met. I have no idea what you're talking about.
United States.
Okay, well, you didn't just say that. What does it matter whether they meet in the United States or Russia or anywhere? This isn't the first time they've met.
I think
you're wrong.
There's a big difference between talking to someone over the phone and meeting someone in person.
Okay, well, I think there's a big difference between voting for someone that says he's going to end the war in 24 hours and then saying, hopefully I can make a deal.
Okay, get to your talking points.
No. Let me touch on one thing you said. I'm going to talk first, whether you like it or not. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold now. It is not a talking point when I say Donald Trump campaigned on the fact he would end the war in 24 hours. And I think idiots like you voted for him because of that. You see, sir, that's not a talking point. A talking point, or a lie in this case, is to convince people like you that he could have picked up the phone and could have ended the war in 24 hours. That's not a talking point. Okay. Do you understand what a talking point is? When you blame Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg and Barack Obama for everything. Example, when you bring up the Epstein files and Donald Trump says it was made up by Joe Biden and Barack Obama. You see, that's a talking point. Or when you say that Democrats and Joe Biden are responsible for all the crime in this country, or when a horrible jobs report comes out, the worst report in 5 years, and you call it fake, and you say it was made up, and then you fire the person that's responsible for putting out factual information. You see, those are talking points and lies. I'm bringing up the fact that Donald Trump ran on the fact that he was going to end this war in 24 hours. That is not a talking point. That's what he ran on. Just like in 2016, when he ran on the fact that I'm going to lock up Hillary Clinton and we're going to hire a special prosecutor. Was that a talking point? Was that a lie? Or when he said he was going to build a wall in Mexico, Mexico was going to pay for it. Was that a talking point? Was that a lie? Every single day we hear talking points from the far right. So don't you say that I'm bringing up talking points because you don't want to admit that you voted for the guy who duped everybody like you into believing he would end the war in 24 hours. That's not a talking point. That's a fact that makes people like you look stupid.
Can I talk? Am I off hold?
Why don't you respond to what I just said? It's not a talking point.
Am I on hold?
I'm on the air.
I'm talking to you, you clown. It's not a talk. By the way, guess what? We're on yeah, you don't like chats on the telephone. You don't think Donald Trump should be chatting with Vladimir Putin. So get the hell off my show then. You right-wing turd, you. That's a talking point. Donald Trump, that's a talking point. That's a talking point. Get the hell off my show. Oh, it's the first time you ever met with Putin. No, it's not. Oh, well, this is the first time you met on American soil. What does it matter? Let's give Donald Trump credit because he's sitting at the table. Oh, did you give Joe Biden credit for speaking to world leaders across the world? Did you give him credit for that? So we should give people credit for just having a meeting. And then when Donald Trump goes to Vladimir Zelensky and says, hey, this is what Putin wants. He wants half of Ukraine. We should give Donald Trump credit for that. When Zelensky says no, we should blame Zelensky. No, you're a clown, dude. You're an idiot. That's what you are. You're a clown. And you right-wing buffoons are the same. You are all the same. You call into the show and you want to give Donald Trump credit for doing nothing other than ruining this country, ruining our economy, putting the National Guard in D.C. When you see a jobs report that comes out or the inflation on the rise, it's all fake news. You're supporting and you want to give credit to a dictator who's running an oligarchy? And you want me to give credit for Donald Trump for rolling out the red carpet for a man that's responsible for murdering hundreds of thousands of people? And you want me to give credit? Should we give Donald Trump credit for writing love letters to Kim Jong-un as well? You clown. But I give you credit sir. I won't give Donald Trump credit, but I'm going to give you credit, Jerry. I'm going to give you credit for calling into this national show and exposing yourself for how stupid and ill-informed you are. I give you credit. There you go. I give credit where credit is due. Holy schmagoli. That's a great way to end the week of shows, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? My goodness gracious. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. Can I talk now? I appreciate everybody for joining us on this Friday. Obviously, we'll be back at it next week on Monday. A very funny comedian and left-leaning comedian who's got a world tour. The very funny Steve Hofstetter will be joining us next week. We also have some very other special guests joining us. I hope everybody has a safe weekend out there. I really do. Please do me a favor and spread the word of this show. Be interactive, especially on my YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. And I would also ask you guys to check out my website, Growing by the Day. We get millions and millions of people hitting my website every month. We want that to continue. PushingTheLimits.live. Go to PushingTheLimits.live. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter what you donate, $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford. We greatly appreciate it very, very much. We are going to monitor the situation between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. We'll have all the news for you starting Monday, same time, same place, noon to 2 Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I love you all, PTL Nation, and we will see you on Monday. Have a great day, everybody.